against the wall.
Looks like we've got no we've got no chat tonight. Don't know what's going on. Hello and welcome to post-match reaction to the Highlanders versus the Stormers, brought to you by DrivingMaul. Hi, I'm Paul, the guy behind DrivingMaul, a YouTube channel, a podcast, a Twitter account, and a website bringing you the best in rugby predictions and opinion. And this evening, joining me, I have none other than the man down in Southland himself, Steve. How are you doing, sir?
I'm very, very good. Thanks for having me once again. Another happy night in Highlanders land, I tell you.
It is, and you've got some noise going on in the background, but I don't know where it is. Maybe you've got the door open. Anyway, there we go. Slammed it closed. Cool. So the Highlanders, yeah, they came out and they won it 33-15 in the end. Sort of ran away with it in the second half, but definitely stretched out the lead because it was close all the way through that first half, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty much close to most of the game, but I think it was, you know, the Highlanders were always on the brink of breaking their game wide open, weren't they? So they were pretty much in control, but it was much like the Stormers we've seen last week. Really good in patches, but just could not finish off the chances they got a lot of the time, and were often their own worst enemy as well, with chances they did get. Yeah,
and the Highlanders were error-strewn this evening. We had a lot of loose passes. We had a few knock-ons, passes going into touch. They really weren't clicking tonight.
Well, it's the way they play, isn't it? That's the style of play. They throw that 50-50 pass, and some days it comes off, other days it doesn't. It's just the Highlanders style. It's exciting, and that's what we come to expect from them. And you know, it gets results. It makes them unpredictable, and it makes them, if it goes right half the time, makes them hard to beat.
Well, that's true. But and I guess let's run through the game as we traditionally do. So Liam Squire was carrying well early on, and after 10 phases, crashed over to get that early try after 4 minutes. Were you thinking we're seeing another Crusaders kind of run away against the Stormers at that point?
Nah, not a chance. No. I rate the Stormers team too good to let that happen again. I think. Yeah, like we've seen some comments on Twitter, you know, if they learn to tackle for the first 20 minutes of the game, it can make a big difference to how they perform. That is the Stormers, which it did. But that was just good Highlanders play, support play, people always there and about. And it was that depth of their attack that the Stormers hadn't really learnt how to deal with having backs and forwards kind of in two sort of tiered system in the back line, which worked pretty well for a start off for the Highlanders.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Stormers, apart from their line out that wasn't functioning early on because they lost a couple there. They then got hold of the ball, went through 12 phases to make the Highlanders give up a penalty, but they didn't need that. And 3 phases later, over they went themselves for their try to. And it was the offloads that clicked at that point. I think both sides, if you gave them the chance to reset their defence, they were containing teams early doors, but it was offloads that really unlocked things.
Yeah, and I think a key man to that play was Raymond Rule. And his first half of Raymond Rule's, I thought, was very, very good. He was massive, made a lot of tackle breaks, disappeared in the second half, unfortunately, for the Stormers, but I think he had a good fist of it and was really the key behind that whole try for the Stormers. But consistently getting quick ball out of the ruck. They went in there, like you said, not letting the defence reset, banging on, next phase. And that was it. The forwards overall, I think, were quite good, the Stormers. So those guys reaped the benefits early on of some good fast ball for good old Devanaka, who actually finally got a commentator who can say his name. Yes, thank you, Scotty Stevenson.
After 10 years of practicing, Scotty Stevenson gets the pronunciation right.
That was a shot at the Australian commentators, by the way, because they last couple of weeks watching them, listening to them, just go Devanaka. It's just learn to say the name.
Say my name, say my name. Sorry. No, we won't go down the singing route. For those of you watching live, I'm sorry. For some reason, we've turned off the group chat this evening, so I'm sorry you can't leave comments. But I'm not sure what setting has gone wrong there. But yeah, so you'll be able to leave comments below after the recording. So please do get in with that. After that, we had Will Williamson. Talk about pronouncing names. Here we go. Who had a very good game. Okay, again, went quiet towards the end, but was happy to take it to the line, happy to take the hits. And he picked up a loose pass and showed his pace to go all the way.
Yeah, the kid's got some wheels, doesn't he? He's got some really good fast pace. But he's a bit like a Bone Barrett sort of fly half, isn't he? He's really good on his feet, very quick, explosive, dangerous runner. I know it's a very broad comparison, but in his style of play, doesn't do what you see of an Andrew Merton sort of player that just does those core first five roles very, very well. So, I mean, for a 19-year-old or whatever he is, very, very promising future for him. But yeah, that was the stage where the Highlanders were really throwing the ball around everywhere, and he picked up that loose ball and he was gone, like a shot out of the gun. Very, very good by him. And I kind of surprised me that they played Dylan Lades at 10 last week as well, with what we've seen from this week as well. I think they need to persevere with that kid and get him in some experience and see if he's made of the real deal for South African rugby. Yeah,
I think he's taken a knock, but he's another one of these players who've come in young and got some game time. We've seen it's Bosch at the Sharks, a similar kind of player. And we think about it, Pollard as well. Pollard was playing in the under-20s World Cup and went straight into the Springboks. What we need to make sure is that he gets a bit looked after and doesn't get overplayed, because Pollard has spent 2 or 3 seasons injured, and suddenly, where's he gone? He's not the player. He's trying to rebuild his career now after that. So whilst, yes, I think, he needs to be given game time. I think perhaps sometimes he needs to be also told, use your players around you. Don't run it into forwards. Don't get bashed too much, mate. You're not. That's not what we have you here for, to take it into contact all the time. Learn when and where to do it a bit more. But yeah, he bounced back very well from some pretty big hits during this game, and also showed some great wheels. You were singing the praises of Rahul. He had a good game, but he also had his moments that weren't so good. And that Naholo try, Naholo just brushed him off. Then another couple of tacklers just were too late to get on to get to Naholo, and he danced down the line, gave it to his little mate Aaron Smith to score under the posts.
Yeah, that's a double-sided sword of Raymond Rule, isn't it? Fantastic in patches, defensively. Don't even worry about him. But you got to say, there's a number of players that the Holo streams straight through. But that's the difference, isn't it? It's X factor. It's the pure class, the ability of a player to just change a game in a couple of little steps and shimmies and breaks through, and doesn't need someone else to do the work for him. He just breaks the game wide open like that. And that was a big changing moment of this game. The Holo, I thought, was very, very good for the Highlanders as well. And it just got better and better as the game got on, and was really, really strong. And so that was a game-changing moment for me. And Raymond Rule, don't leave him on defence by himself.
Okay, should we just have a quick look at his tackling stats?
Okay, go for it.
So Raymond Rule made 1 tackle, and he missed 3. So yes. To be fair, I'm going to give Ryan the plaudits here, because last night, what say we on Friday? Yes, last night on the preview, this is one that Ryan called out. He said, "Yeah, Rule will not be. Will hopefully, if the Stormers are going to win, hopefully Rule actually makes some tackles." And yes, he made 1. Unfortunately,
that's the sort of player he is, isn't it? He's an attacking player. If he loses that effectiveness on attack, he's pretty much a dead bird out in the ocean, isn't he?
Yeah, he was pretty good under the high ball, defensively and attackingly. Attackingly, is that a word? I think so. We'll run with it. But tackling is not his strength. To be fair, he wasn't the only one. Kitsoff, the prop, made 3 tackles, missed 3 tackles. Khaleesi, of all people, made 6 tackles, missed 3 tackles. So there's quite a few people who missed a bunch, but not as bad from a ratio point of view. And the Highlanders also, Thompson, Walden, both missed 3 tackles each, and so did Tokolai. There's plenty of tackles being missed in this game. And that's, to me, that's been a bit of a theme of Super Rugby so far this season. There's been a lot of missed tackles out there. It hasn't, along with that. But since we're talking about tackles, I've just seen this stat and I just can't believe it. How many tackles do you think Whitelock got through?
Well, I'd say if it's an extraordinary stat, I'll say 12.
So Hunt got through 13, as did Dyke for the Stormers. No, Whitelock merely made 22 tackles in this game.
Jesus, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work.
He did miss 2. I mean, slacker, but
always
20, 22 tackles from Whitelock. Wow, that is a serious shift, and definitely give him a couple of days off to recuperate, because those shoulders are going to be shot to pieces. That is amazing. 22 tackles. The next best, as I say, Hunt there with 13, Dyke with 13 on from the or Dick, or however you're supposed to pronounce it, for the Stormers. The Hunt was a player actually I called out as saying he would be a player that with the amount of runs the Stormers would get out of their forwards, that Hunt was someone that needed to step up and make quite a few tackles, and he did do that tonight. So, but we were talking about Nholo previously, scoring that try. He had a shocking opening to the game, knocked the ball on twice in the first 4 minutes, and there's a man who has got some confidence. He may not jump around like Aaron Smith does and scream, but he doesn't let a couple of mistakes get in the way of still trying things. And Nholo also messed up a wonderful Fadders pass in the second half as well. So yeah, a guy who's got self-belief and doesn't get down by making a few errors. Wasn't
that just the most beautiful pass you've ever seen as well? Just floated through the air like a flower. It was amazing. But yeah, Nholo did have a shocking start. And
floated through the air like a flower.
Beautiful, just beautiful. It was artistic, that pass almost. But yeah, he just gets better and better as the game goes on, Nholo, and he's always going to be a key. Just the way he can smash the game open all by himself, put him in a corner, and that's where you get the best out of him. Yeah, he makes a game. He can break a game, and he makes a game. And yeah, little mistake, you take it, don't you? At least you can make tackles, I hope.
Oh, and Ben Nichols. Now. Sorry, Ben. No, I'm Ben Nichols. Thank you so much. You are the first person ever to have used the super chat, and for $2.99, we will definitely talk about how good was Nabrua on debut.
Do you mean the who's playing the Stormers second row that come on? That's the guy you're meaning. I'd expect to see. Yes, I've actually listed him down on my little picture of notes here. Yes, he come on. 19 years old as well. I think the same as Willemse. Very, very good. Very strong. Very, very difficult to stop, and good tackler. Yeah, very strong fingers. No, actually, sorry, we're wrong person. He was strong. He was good. But the person we're being paid to talk about was Nabrua, the other wing of the Highlanders. So now there was a guy who was just too eager in this game, wasn't he? Took a player in the air, dived on a player who was on the ground picking up the ball. It clearly has got talent. Clearly he's got some wheels. Clearly he's got skills. But was just too excited in this game and was just trying to prove himself too much to me. The guy I was talking about was Morlat, the amazing little player. That's the one I was thinking of. Anyway, yes, I think he was a bit overeager, but very, very good still. Did try a bit too hard. But yeah, he's got the pace. He's powerful. He's kind of like a Patrick Osborne used to be for the Highlanders as well. Very, very good. I think he'll get better and better as time goes on, though, for them as well. I made 5 tackles, didn't miss any, which is fantastic. 9 runs for 74 metres. I thought there were a couple of runs where he should have passed it rather than and ran into traffic. Again, that's an over-eagerness, trying to and it's one of those things you kind of want from your wingers at times, is for them to be a bit selfish and to go for it. But yeah, I say in that time, I think there were a couple of opportunities where he ran into traffic when he could have released other players when he made breaks, which was. But yeah, no, he has definitely got a future for him, and he'll calm down after he's had a few games as well and gotten used to playing in that environment. You'd probably say he had a couple of try assists that weren't tries as well. That's a horrible carry from Himopo. How that wasn't a try, but that was through just extreme dedication to the chase. 2 Stormers players there. Normally, you'll just back off, wait for the player to take the ball and try to take him down straight away. But no, he was in the thick of it, pushed that forward, and should have been a try. So very good, very passionate, good to see, and had some really good moments as well with ball in hand. Didn't see the usual thing with doing stupid stuff. He was pretty, in the thick of things, pretty calm under the ball carrying side of things. So yeah, not too bad from him. Yeah, no, very good. As you say, yeah, we had also a couple of Stormers come on who were young, and we saw that this was a Stormers team that was stretched, or a Stormers squad that was stretched. We had 3
injury, two header injuries and another injury in the first half to the Stormers. And we saw that definitely make its self-effect in the second half. About 55 minutes, the Stormers looked out on their feet and absolutely gassed.
Yeah, I think just before half-time, there was a pretty big moment for the Stormers where they lost about, like you said, 2, 3, 4 players. The likes of SP Maria went off as well. That was a big changing moment of the game for me on the Stormers half. Losing all those guys just, didn't help them. And like I said, they made a lot of changes in the first half as well. It was just players, fitness-wise, long tour. It's tough, but they were in that game again. You got to say, 3 games on tour that they were not completely 100% outplayed. The Stormers team, I would not write them off for the rest of the season. Bad start results-wise, but I think they've got to go back with the heads held pretty high about how they've played overall. Players they've brought into their setup, and just, if they keep fitness right, go home, rest up, and they will be a team that will win matches you expect them to lose.
Yeah, and you think players like Etzebeth still hasn't pulled a jersey on yet this season. So, yeah, if this is what they're doing with what is a pretty injury-ravaged squad, their stocks at lock are amazing when you've got that youngster coming on who put in a great shift. So, yeah, they've definitely got some quality here. In the second half, quiet in the way of scoring. We only had 2 tries in that half, which was a bit of a surprise. Both sides kind of were trying to play in the right area of the pitch. I mean, that's one of the messages we got from the coaches at half time was, if we play in the right area of the pitch, we'll score points. And so both sides were trying to do that and didn't quite make it happen. Again, lots of errors, as I say, from the Highlanders, passes going into touch, drop balls, etc. But once they got that 11 points up, lovely line by Whitelock after multiple phases. They kind of looked comfy after that point.
Yeah, I think the whole second half was kind of just completely changed pace from the first half. Stormers started to get a bit out on their feet, like you've been saying. Highlanders probably started to try and control the match rather than just break the match open as they could. So they kind of played probably a bit more Crusaders style of game. But yeah, Whitelock is always a workhorse, isn't he? He's always does so much. He's already talked about his tackling, but he's always there for the heavy carries. It was a great line, straight through defenders, cut them in half and left them for dust. He's strong. Another Whitelock. What can you say? Just look at the other guys, and that answers all your questions. I
guess all I should say is he should be red and black. I mean, why is he not playing for the Crusaders? But anyway. So Floyd in Pink wants to know both of your thoughts on Glenn Jackson tonight. So what were your thoughts on Glenn?
Right. Well, I actually wrote a little thing here to say at the start of this. I wanted to say I thought Glenn Jackson had a very, very good match. This is a match more on. I kind of relinquished my thoughts to comment that he didn't have a bad game. No yellow cards was good to see. So I definitely want to mention that. I thought the incident that could have gone, the low tackle from, can't remember who that was, one of the Highlanders front rowers. Yeah, a bit of a silly call if that would have gone to a yellow. I thought was an attempt to wrap it up an arm, but I mean, yeah, what wasn't too bad. I wouldn't have given that a yellow.
Yep, yes. I agree. Was it a chop tackle? Not a full-on one. His arms were. He was trying to. The legs bounced off. It was at least the arms were there. They're too wrap. So I'm happy with just the penalty and not the yellow. It wasn't a classical chop tackle where the guy just dives in front of the legs to break legs. So no, happy with that one.
He kind of messed up his timing a bit. Was probably the biggest thing. Just went a bit too early and it was like, oh crap, and just kind of fell into it. So.
language. Oh dear.
Jeez, it's all right. I guarantee you would have said worse things when he was on the field. He was in that situation. But I think you'll probably want to make a point about the second probably biggest call just for halftime. Do you want to lead that, or should I go with that one?
Well, I think I've seen your tweets. So I know I know which way you're going to go. So okay, I'll set the scene. Wonderful break by the Highlanders. Someone tackles Ben Smith short of the line. He doesn't release the ball. He scrambles on. The argument scrambles on, goes over the line, and touches down with another player tackling him. Now, people are saying he wasn't held. To me, at the moment, you're supposed to release the player as soon as you've tackled him. So he hit the ground with someone touching his legs. Yes, he then bounced out of the tackle, but I still think he needed to release the ball and pick it up again before trying to scramble over the line. So for me, I'm happy with the call the Glenn Jackson's call on that one.
Yeah, I think the comment that was on Twitter about that, about how it could be argued both ways, is probably the most fairest way to put it. It's hard to say that he was held when it was just his shirt being pulled as he's falling over. It's, you know, it's one of those things. It's your own vision of what it is. Yes, he tumbled forward and then was tackled over the line. I really could have just let him go and he wouldn't have gone anywhere further. But yeah, it was a 50-50. I would have given it a try. But yeah, I can kind of see, if you want to go super technical about it, there was probably a finger touching his leg.
So yeah, that's one that could have gone either way. I don't think I wouldn't have been overly upset. I would maybe have raised an eyebrow if he had given it a try. But yeah, it's one you've seen given before, definitely. Yep. The other one, I think overall, I think Glenn Jackson had a decent game. Yeah, did he miss a couple of a knock on or two that we saw from the camera? Yes, he did. Did he spot other ones quicker than I spotted them? Yes, he did. He's human. So I think overall he did okay. He wasn't pernickety about things. He let the game play. He could have been much more pernickety. We could have had a whistling game in this one. Lineouts that weren't straight. He was happy if the opposition didn't jump. It's like, yep, if the opposition aren't going to challenge, you can throw it wherever you like. I don't care. As I say, yeah, did he miss some knock-ons? Yes, he did. But did it alter the flow or the results or the flow of the game? Not overly. And we could have got very annoyed with lots and lots of reset scrums. And
I think that's a big thing, is that he wasn't impactful on the game. Things happened. It wasn't like, oh, why has the ref done this? Why has it done that? The game just played. It just flowed. And he wasn't the vocal point of the match, which is good for a referee. You don't want to be the centre of the game. And yeah, I agree. A solid match. Good match.
Yep, happy with how he went. Yep. And yeah, used the CMO enough, but didn't slow the game down to use it overly, and trusted in his assistants as well. So there you go. Overall, good game. So yes, so the as I say, the Stormers looked out on their feet after that try. I did tweet at that point that that they had to score the next try, not score the next points, and then the next try for the Stormers to still be in that. Faddis came on, made a lovely break. Nholo drops it. We had another. Aaron Smith made a break, forward pass. We had some knock-ons, but eventually we did get a great move, taking the ball back to the short line, back to the short side after a line out. Mr. Ben Smith, who they called a freak by the commentators, and he is a fantastic player. Released it, and I've forgotten who actually scored in the corner. There was Nholo's second one. I can't remember anyway. But
I can't remember this now. Who scored the last one? Lima Sopawanga scored in the 80th minute.
There we go. But he scored with the kick. He scored the try as well.
Oh, that was a conversion. Aaron Smith, I should say. I was reading the wrong column.
There we go. Aaron Smith scored inside. And this is something we've seen a couple of times this season already. This is, I think, the Highlanders pulled this one off against the Blues in the opening game, where we had a line out. We go into the centre of the pitch for a for a breakdown. We recycle it and we flood where the line out was with backs, not with forwards, and that's the important thing. And then they make that break and go through. And I say, from memory, the Highlanders did this against the Blues. England did this against Scotland as well. It's definitely a set move that is going through the attacking coaches' minds at the moment.
Yeah, and it's this way Aaron Major kind of is looking like he's doing. It's kind of the same thing Tony Brown did as well. It's creativity, making the most of your set piece, creating those chances out wide. And I mean, we all know the Highlanders got the players to do that sort of thing. They got the X factor, they got the skill, the speed. So you just got to execute, find the gap, create the gap. And that's really what they did. And that's what those moves kind of do as well. And it's very quickly you do find people move away from a set piece as well, try and cover areas. So good idea to try and hit those areas back again where they haven't properly structured things back together.
Yep. And Floyd and Pink came back and said, did you just say on uncontested lineouts, no straight throws are okay? That is how Jackson was refereeing it. He wasn't being pernickety about this sort of stuff. I think I'm not a great fan of not straight throws and not straight put-ins at scrums, but we could end up blowing at every single breakdown and all the way through the game, and we'd actually have no play at all. So it's a balance issue. Clearly, Jackson decided he wasn't going to do. He wasn't going to get pernickety about those sort of things, and I say it didn't alter the flow of the game. That's Stormers' line-out, though, is a real problem for them. They came into this game having only won 70-odd% of their own line-outs, and then they lost another 3, I think it was, in this one. Sorry, zoom down. Oh no, 4 out of 14 they lost on this one. So yeah, that is going to be, that is a serious problem for them going forwards.
Yeah, and you talked about already, big man is going to be a difference to be Itzebeth when he gets back, leader in that pack. He's going to, I think, nicely blend the back row and the front row together too with some quality. But yeah, it's saying that runs quite deep through the squad too. So it's going to be a pretty big team issue, but they need to get it right. Although the scrums from both sides were just a non-event really. Whoever had to put in just held it as solid as a rock. The lineouts really were the big change in place to attack. So I'm surprised the Highlanders didn't attack it a bit more, to be honest with you. Those quite a few of them did go uncontested. So thought it could have been an area they could have targeted, but didn't need to in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I had it in my notes here that we had our 4th scrum at around about 50-odd minutes, 55 minutes, and then we ended up having another 6 scrums in that last half hour. So we definitely ramped up. Early doors, the Highlanders looked dominant or very solid in those, but I think the Stormers came back in the set piece very well. 2 of those missed lineouts were in the first sort of 4-10 minutes, and they seemed to get it sorted. Then they had all their substitutions, and it fell apart again. But the Stormers definitely improved in the set piece during this. And it says here that the Highlanders lost 1 line out. I think they might have lost a couple, or they might have won one, hits the floor, bounces, and gets picked up by the Stormers. So yeah, some of it was a little bit messy. They weren't as perfect as the stats might like to try and make it out to be.
Yeah, I think it counts if it's not really a lost throw if it goes over the back and doesn't actually get taken by someone part of the lineout. So I think they might come into it a bit as well. But what surprises me about the Stormers too is how long they play their front rowers for before they substitute them on. A long, long time. You're looking, Kitsoff was on there for about an hour, if not longer, from memory, before he went off. So I'm not sure if that's a lack of confidence in the substitutes or it's a tactic that they're looking to push with those guys or to be a bit of a point of difference, having a fresh guy coming on a bit later, or just heaps of confidence in the guys that they start the match, but
or injuries. Maybe they're down to second and third choices.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Yeah, they've done it all season long too. It's been quite a common thing for them to play players up to and over the hour mark as well. So interesting to see what they do. I think they got quality pack, so just need to execute things a bit better. But when you're team with the Khaleesi's, his own Cars, Kitshoffs, they're all quality players, and that hooker Samuels is a very, very strong run off the ball as well. So like I said earlier, I've got big confidence that Stormers are going to be strong at home.
Yep, absolutely. Any kind of I think we're sort of running out of things to say. Williamson has, we've talked about it. He made 104 meters running. And Ahola was the only person with 106 that did better than that. There was one stat I was going to pull up that I think was key in this. So runs, we had, so passes were pretty much even, the 141, 145. Runs, 124 to 133. So not that big a difference. But then you see the meters run, 610 for the Highlanders, 404 for the Stormers. Just show that the Highlanders were better at finding those gaps, better at finding those breaks, and the clean runs and the clean breaks, and which is why they had 10 clean breaks to 4. And that really kind of was the difference. That the Stormers had the territory, they had the possession, but they couldn't really break down that defence. And the Highlanders, for all their errors during this game, were more clinical at the end of it.
I guess what that comes down to is having such a class and quality fullback. Not saying anything with East Maria, but when he went off, that did make a difference, I think, defensively to the Stormers. But you look at that chance, we did praise and then criticise Raymond Rule, but he did make that break down the left side that turned Ben Smith inside out. Should have been gone for all money. Player of his speed, Ben Smith covered that and took him down, got the penalty for not releasing the ball. So that's a game-changing moment. But the Highlanders just seem to scramble defence very, very well. They cover themselves extremely well also. And when you look at it, the second half did really break down quite a lot, and the Highlanders did take over. Like the stats at halftime, I think were pretty close on line breaks, things like that. But they did blow out a bit, and the Highlanders took that quite easily in the end. But it's a quality team, and quality throughout, and they just took the chances they got. They create a lot by the way they play.
Yeah, Thompson was another player that impressed me as well in the backs. He's someone I've perhaps not really noticed as much in previous seasons, or perhaps, but yeah, the last couple of games he really has stood out for me. Played well. Delendi did all right, but you got to say that it was more Williamson was the guy that stood out for me on for the Stormers. Cool.
A guy that I'd like to mention for the Highlanders, I thought goes under the radar quite a bit, is Liam Coltman. Just seems to play very, very strong, especially this season. He's been floating around that fringe All Black sort of player for a while now, but he just seems to consistently play at a good level. You see, he's no Dane Coles, he's no big X factor like Moore and players like that, but he just does what he has to do very, very well. He's very strong. He's very good around the breakdown and things like that. And I thought, again, he's a player that had a very, very strong game. For the Stormers, I think we've mentioned all the players I thought were quite good, mainly in their pack, where they're really standouts. But yeah, entertaining game though. Two teams that like to play. They like to play, like to throw the ball around, and don't like to let the ball die, which was massive. I was surprised at the offload stats, that they were actually so low, because the Stormers were going mental in a while there. But it was good, entertaining stuff, which is good to see. Highlanders look like they'll be a contender this year, which is top notch.
Absolutely. Top offloads, Highlanders 12, Stormers 13, which is pretty high for this kind of thing. And yes, it's, dare we say it, the South African style of play has disappeared, and we have much more. And with the way that the Stormers were keeping it alive, the way that the Lions are playing, the way that the Bulls in that opening game were offloading in their front five, can we say that the South Africa has moved on from and is gone with the times, and their style of play is much more interesting, much more fun to watch than the stereotype.
Yeah, I think they did that a long time ago, or quite a number of years ago, but just the ability to play that style is probably what's held them back, or the quality of players to play that style is what has really held them back from fully developing into that sort of style of play. We see the Bulls did it probably 3-4 years ago. They really changed their structure massively and just would attack from anywhere on the field. Anywhere they got the ball, they'll just attack as best they could. It completely fell on their face with it, because they just didn't execute it properly. But from that point, I think that's when they really started to do it. Lions obviously bringing that style through from Curry Cup and even probably below there. John Mitchell again coming through. They know how to play it because they've been drummed into them. But a couple of seasons doing it at this level is not quite enough to get through. So yeah, hopefully so, because that's entertainment. But the real challenge is going to be bringing it from Super Rugby level to international level. That's going to be where the real hiccup's going to be. Yep,
and we'll get on to that in the latter part of the year. Well, actually, first we will see that with when the Springboks play Wales in Wellington, DC, and then come back to South Africa for the following weekend to play
Washington,
DC. There we go. That's the one. Wellington, DC. They're all capitals, and they begin with the same letter. Wellington, DC in America, in the US, the great US today. Sorry. So Washington, DC for the game against Wales, followed up by three tests against England in South Africa. And then obviously we'll get to see them on our shores during the Rugby Championship as well. So we'll definitely be talking about that later in the season. So thank you very much, sir. And get well. Your voice isn't sounding as bad as you threatened. So
try not to cough.
Try not to cough. Yes, exactly. Thank you very much for your time, Steve, and let people know where they can catch you during the week.
No worries, as always. You can find me, Cornflakes Crib, everywhere. That's the name. Twitter, YouTube. Come watch some videos. Come watch me talk trash about the teams for next week's preview as well. And we'll have to get Paul back on there again soon too to preview and hopefully see how your picks go once again.
Oh dear, yes. I had a shocker last week with my picks. This week so far I'm 1 from 1. So like I think most people are. Yeah. Anyway, yes. Paul, the guy behind Driving Maul, at Driving Maul on Twitter, down below, or comments down below. Always up for good old rugby chat. Click on the face there to subscribe to the channel. Click on the box there to watch the latest video. All of that wonderful stuff. And if you're listening to the podcast, give us a 5-star review. You'll already subscribe. That's why you're listening to us. So 5-star reviews, other stars are available. But why would you want to do that? So go good guys, and enjoy whatever rugby you're watching this weekend.